Now, local and international observers are watching very keenly how Nigeria is handling its current petrol crisis, and in particular, the twists and turns around the new $20 billion Dangote refinery, whose petrol products is now in production, but issues around its pricing and who the off-takers are remain uncertain. Question: has the Dangote Petrol been caught in Nigeria's legacy of muddy waters of petrol politics and intrigues of an economy that is finding it difficult to win itself off many decades of dollar-guzzling fuel imports? Let's bring in my guest. Kunle is an energy industry professional with experience in privatization advisory and business consultation. Thank you so much, sir. We thank you for making the time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Would you say that the Dangote refinery, let's get the ground running, because these are very burning issues, highly inflammable, if you ask me. So, do you think the Dangote refinery is caught in Nigeria's muddy waters of petrol politics?
Look, it's unfortunate that this recurring decimal, we are back there again. I suspected 7 years ago that we were going to be exactly here today.
Why? Why was that so?
Because
7 years ago?
I saw,
very quickly.
Yeah, see, if you recall, if you Google my article, I wrote an open letter to Dr. Kachuku, was the minister
of State,
exactly, because I catalogued the history of all his utterances from where he was GMD of NNPC to the time he became minister, and I even insinuated that time that, look, why don't you just resign? Because all your utterances have not brought anything meaningful, anything tangible to the table. And exactly some of the things I forecasted there at that time, they are just exactly crystallizing now. Because you can imagine the whole country, the might of Federal Republic of Nigeria, only one product called fuel. The fuel that is fueling the socio-economic crisis of Nigeria, petrol. Just one product. So all the energy and the time resource, including my own time and your time now, we are discussing just petrol. So the Mr. President of this country has so many high-level issues he's supposed to be engaged with. But unfortunately, today, the only issue he's engaged with now is petrol. Instead of us to be thinking about how to produce more crude and more gas so that we can have scaling opportunity.
So you consider petrol as the poison in our chalice?
If I say it's the biggest crisis,
it's
the elephant in the room, and we need to deal with it.
Well, maybe the bull in a china shop rather than the elephant. Because this looks like a bull that is likely to destroy.
Yeah, and it's very dangerous.
Everything.
I agree with you.
So from 2017, when you wrote that article, and today, and you talked about the whole issue around, then you talked about Dangote refinery was going to come on stream. Now it has come on stream. So why do you think the problem? Is it because we're so tied to petrol imports and we can't let go?
No, we did not. The authorities, I'm not going to ever apportion much blame to President Tinubu. The ineptitude with which the regime was managed from 2015 to the time it was handed over to President Tinubu was the main cause. Because if they had gradually addressed this product called PMS, if they had gradually addressed it that time,
it's been addressed.
Gradually, they would have not left the whole thing for just one person.
One of the former ministers, said September of 2013 or 2014 for the privatization also of the refineries. And I remembered, because I interviewed her in London.
Even at that her attempt, that time, also was still called to question us at that time.
Why do we question everything? What exactly was wrong with the privatization of the refineries? Because today the refineries are not privatized, and then they're real functional.
Yes.
And they're just draining money.
That is the complex police crisis we find ourselves now. And if we are to address it one by one now, the best thing for Mr. President to do at the moment is just to say, okay, look, this product, we need to get rid of it. And how do you get rid of it? Open it up. There was noise about kerosene in 2012, 2013.
Exactly.
When the Nigerian people decided to get rid of it, particularly the political elites and the managers who were handling it, Nobody had any noise about kerosene anymore. The same thing with diesel.
Yes.
So why is petrol, this fuel called petrol, is burning the country now? So we need to arrest it. Mr. President has to assemble. I continue to prescribe this. He has to assemble a team to diagnose this thing and iron it out. Give them 10 days. 10 days, they will sort it out. 10 days.
I'm coming, sir. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to that. Let's sort out this Dangote refinery issue a little bit, because this is a major asset that will liberate us from fuel importation. Now it looks like that is getting caught in the web of petrol politics.
Dangote refinery has come to stay.
Yes, it has.
And is the only project since independence that has given us a semblance of economic sovereignty. I repeat, check all the other landmark projects in Nigeria. Kanji Hydro, after independence, if you remember Kanji Hydro. Okay. Then check Ajaokuta, check NAFCON, that is now notorious.
Yes.
Check the 3 refineries combined, built during Obasanjo, military head of state.
Yes, 76, 79.
Yes, into even Sagari. And combine all of them, including LNG, combine all of them. They cannot make the critical mass impact on this economy
as the Dangote
refinery is going to be.
Yes.
It's a success story that the president should just embrace.
But now the Dangote refinery is producing petrol, but we haven't resolved the issue of the off-takers. Whether it's going to be an NPC or Deepman or Ipman or whoever.
Yeah, the policy.
Or we should just go there with our jerry cans and we just go queue up by the gates and just buy it by ourselves.
No, Bossy, in the last 10 days, the policy pronouncement that we have not seen writing.
No, would you say they are policies or just pronouncements?
They were pronouncement, but we expected, after pronouncement, we expected to see some things in black and white, because that's how government works. There should be memos rolling out of either Minister of Petroleum Office, which is Mr. President, or rolling out of the coordinating minister, Minister of Finance, Chief Wale Edun. Okay, so maybe,
or from the NNPC.
Or from the NNPC. And NNPC take direction. They take directive from either Minister of Finance or from Mr. President, who is the Minister of Petroleum.
Yes.
So with such memo, if we see such memo and we are able to see the content of such memo, then we can now situate Dangote refineries petrol products with what is coming out. Exactly.
So technically, Aliko Dangote is producing fuel and it's just putting it down.
Maybe he may start to export if he cannot wait any longer.
How does that sound to you, sir?
Very, very unpleasant. I will be one of the saddest
He spent about $20 billion. He's borrowed money. He sold out on his shares and other personal assets. Some of people are aware of. And now the petrol is here, and we can't touch it.
You have just provoked me.
Yes, and that's deliberately.
And thank you. I am going to plead with the core group in this country. The core group, the owners of Nigerians, the elites that hold organized knowledge in this country and that are supposed to guide the policy arrangement of this country.
Yes.
They should please prevail on President Tinubu to look carefully into this matter. The voice of man is the voice of God. There is something about this petrol that he has to address. It cannot continue like this. He has to address it. The elites in this country and the owners of Nigeria should prevail on him. They should talk to him. He is a businessman. He manages this Lagos.
An administrator as well.
He's very well informed. So I don't believe he's not informed. He's informed. So the more he delay this canker war, the more we are going to have problems. Because he has no good managers in NNPC. The amateurs in NNPC, they can't handle this crisis.
Are you sure about that?
I am very sure. The competency is not there. The transparency is not there. And the discretionary power at their disposal to manage this one product.
Or you think they are sucked in by the system?
No. We just need honesty. There is honesty deficit. And without it, a nation does not grow. Petrol does not grow a nation.
Okay,
honesty grow a nation.
So if
the managers of the country are not honest,
the offtake, what about pricing? Now I'm trying to wrap my head around that, and that's where we have you here to understand. How will the pricing be done? Because we all blamed the landing costs and transportation and haulage and what of that for the subsidy and whatever and the price of petrol. And that's what's coming from outside. Okay. Now, there's no landing cost involved in Dangote Petrol.
Yeah, Dangote refinery getting crude locally.
Yes.
And refining cost and blah, blah, blah. We help to stabilize price.
Stabilize or reduce price. Watch your words very carefully.
Yes, exactly. I'm careful.
Yes.
Because since I don't have the template of the cost, fixed cost, marginal cost, variable cost,
what the bottom line
and all the bottom line. Since I don't have it, so I don't want to pronounce an amount per liter. Why I could pronounce that of the international one? Because at least there's a guideline.
Yeah, that's about 890 next door.
Yes. But even at that, the stock, the inventory they were having before they increased the price, there is a margin between that old price and the new one.
Yes.
What has happened to it? NNPC has to account.
So where does that place NNPC as to how it's going to price its own product? Because whatever Dangote refinery is producing today as petrol will not be enough yet. So there's still going to be a supplement import of fuel.
Yeah, well, the role that Dangote refinery will play, even when he bring out the price, is that it will help the government to see scientifically the volume of PMS they are subsidizing and the amount of subsidy. At the moment, you and me don't know the exact amount of subsidy. You and me, because the figure imported, you and me don't really have the record, the accurate record. So when they say they imported 65 million liters, you and me knows that maybe we don't consume more than 35, 40 million liters. So
I know what I consume.
Exactly.
I don't know what you consume.
So, well, in a week, let's say a week, I consume about 80 liters every week with my car because I drive around a lot in Abuja. But if you average it, I don't think this country does more than 40 million maximum. Yeah, not every day.
That's an open secret.
Some days maybe 25 million, some days 30 million. So now, since you don't know the exact figure of what they even imported, because it's opaque, because of the way it is being managed.
But that's one organization that controls it.
Exactly.
It's been there for decades.
And this recurring decimal, which I believe President Tinubu can even out. He has the capacity. And then why should the country be so distracted over just one product? I just gave you an example now that the inventory they had before they make this policy pronouncement that price has changed from 600 to maybe 890 or 850. That inventory they were holding, that they now release with the old price. Where is the difference? The country, they must explain to the country, these are part of the opaqueness in NNPC. Whether it's an NNPC or midstream.
That's my last question. I understand the midstream, downstream, whatever.
Confusion.
How about that? Can you make sense of it? How we can untangle it?
This is how it is. There's supposed to be a holistic reform of the oil and gas sector.
Isn't that what the PIA has done?
It's provided for it, but the reform has not taken place.
So it's just on paper?
NNPC that is there today is not a reform. It's just a kangaroo arrangement. I've said it before. Check Google. I said it before. I said this arrangement there is not a reform. It's a kangaroo arrangement. So the midstream regulatory body supposed not to even exist. By law, they just put it, they smuggle it in there because they just wanted to create parastatals all over the place. That authority is supposed just to be a department in the entire regulatory body from our ambition when we started this reform. Far back in 2003, 2004, So it's supposed not to be two regulatory body. It's supposed to be one. You want that to be that section will have just been a department headed by maybe a commissioner in charge of midstream or downstream. You understand me now? But see the bureaucracy they have created. Now, look at it, reflect and relate that bureaucracy they have created to what you need to produce crude. So you are using all the money you make upstream to finance the indolences in the midstream, downstream authority, and the indolences and incompetent people in NNPC. You are using all the money you make upstream to finance them, to look after just petrol.
So you want another...
Just petrol.
So you're asking for another reform?
Deep reform. President Tinubu must help us
money and time with the PIA.
PIA is due for review. And,
really?
And yes, the PIA is due for review.
Really
I'm not a lawyer, but if you go and see some clauses in PIA today, they're already outdated. The industry has moved very fast. They don't wait for you. Take LNG, Bonny LNG today.
Yes.
There is no sufficient gas going there. There's no sufficient gas. So you cannot produce 22 million tons per year because no gas. So Aliko Dangote refinery, the fertilizer, cannot produce 3 million tons a year because there is no sufficient gas. So where is the reform? There is no reform. There is no reform. You can't reform yourself. The management in NNPC are not the one to reform themselves.
Do you think you just...
BP has the responsibility by law to reform them.
Yes.
So the vice president and the president must sit down and check.
So you want a BP back in now?
The BP has to resume their role, their job, because it's in the law. Unless the president wants to say, no, set aside that law, which means, again, he himself is contradicting the law. And I believe that President Tinubu will not contradict the law. So NNPC need reform so that we make them more accountable. This present setting we have there, they are not accountable to this country. And President Tinubu has to hold them responsible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.